Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's Lair. I am your host, Larry the Chupacabra, and this time we'll be taking a look at some footage of Val, the first tier healer, and she's got a healing gun, she's got a tranq gun, a sniper rifle that can penetrate the monster's armor, and an AoE heal, which is the only way that she can heal herself. So much like our last video, we're jumping in a little bit further ahead to when we finally catch up with the monster as he's going into Tier 2 back here by this power station. Which is actually, you know, a really popular place where people like to cocoon up and evolve pretty often. So the healer's job is sort of multi-purpose. You really have to be on the ball both offensively and defensively. First you want to make sure you got the tranq up, because that severely diminishes the monster's effectiveness because he's sluggish, he can't leap as hard or punch as hard. But unfortunately, my buddy Mozzie's not so good with the orbital strikes and is pretty good the whole match of knocking me away from the people that need the heals. So I'm going to desperately try to keep him alive with my heal gun. Good news is it's got a pretty long range. And normally I would also try to put a few shots into the monster in between heals to try and make it so everyone else could do a little bit more damage. But this guy who's playing the monster is not too bad, and he's just laying on anybody who is the least bit squishy and easy to murder. Switching between myself, Mordred, Scrape-and-Lick who's playing the hunter, and Mozzie. Trying his darndest to stay away from our assault Avs, who isn't really the most aggressive assault that we ever ran into. So I'm just gonna jump around like a chicken with my head cut off and try to keep Mozzie alive, while also trying not to get torn in half like a phone book, which just about happens. So the dome is down, and he's gonna run off into the distance and start eating again. And we don't manage to catch back up with him for quite a while until he is in Tier 3. Which, as you can well imagine, is kind of annoying. He's actually a pretty good monster. He managed to juke us, I think, like 4 or 5 times in the course of running around. So he runs over here and kind of jumps down inside of this hydroelectric power plant, and then escapes through the river section, making it very hard to track his movement because the water doesn't store footprints. Not even in a game where we've got, like, glowy blue footprints. So we pretty much just kind of hung out around the power plant trying to find him for, like 5 or 10 minutes. And eventually he gets to Tier 3, and we've just got to deal with him before he can destroy the power coupling here in the power plant. So once again, I'm going to try to put a little bit of tranquilizer on him before jumping back on the healing gun, so that everyone doesn't get murdered. Our buddy Scrape-and-Lick gets a little bit too close for comfort and gets kerschmackled quite a bit. And because I'm having some frame rate issues, being this is the alpha and all, I just had to jump up to the top of this balcony and try to heal from up above. It's not nearly as effective, I don't think, or at least it doesn't seem as effective. I could be wrong. But because of my frame rate issues during the middle of, like, everyone's particle effects, that's just what I had to deal with. So I'm pretty much just trying to cycle between tranking him while my healing gun recharges to full, and then trying to keep people topped desperately. Because when the monster is at Tier 3, he is absolutely redonkulously powerful. And he can just rip you to pieces, and if you're not careful, he can instantly gib you from about half health to dead. Which, as I'm sure you can imagine, is just the wee bitest annoying. And that's when Avs goes down, our assault, and there's really not a lot we can do. He knows enough to stay on top of the person who's been downed and try to keep them from healing. In theory, I should be able to just keep my healing gun on him and get him back up, but for some reason, no matter how close I wasn't able to keep the healing gun on anybody who was down. Which kind of makes it just the slightest bit awkward. And all I can really do is just sit here and desperately try to keep people healed. But the monster is really powerful, so unless you can blitz him down really fast, like outside or something, there is just not a lot you're gonna be able to do. So I'm just gonna kind of retreat for a bit, still having frame rate issues, and shoot down at him. Not my best performance. This was right after we all had downloaded the Evolve Alpha. But I felt you guys should see just a little bit of the footage from how the healer works. It's a very difficult task to, or role to play in this game, because you wear a lot of hats. And you can kind of deal with a cruddy support, keeping people shielded, not nearly enough. But if you don't have a healer on their game, then you run into some trouble. And, you know, people die. It's just kind of a pain in the butt. And if you also don't keep enough tranquilizer on the monster, or if you're not good at sniping him with the tranquilizer from a long distance away, then it makes it even harder to chase the monster. One person who is a particularly good medic was actually our buddy Mazikaze, who has been reminding me over and over again that it's Mazikaze, not Mazikaze, but that's just too flippin' bad, isn't it? Now I'm just going to try and snipe at him over and over again in the same spot, trying to buy some time for my buds to respawn from the dropship. And if you do damage to the monster, even though they've got the, you know, facility down low on health, that objective point in there, they can't do damage to it so long as you're doing damage to them. Unfortunately, this monster is not entirely stupid, and he knows to come over and breathe fire at me periodically, and I was kind of concerned that he was going to jump through that giant gaping hole in the wall there and murder me before everyone else was back. As I was pretty much the only thing keeping him from utterly destroying the facility, and I'd seen our buddy Avs, who was actually our puppy, do just this the game prior, and successfully kill the monster just sitting there on that balcony, poking at him endlessly, shot after shot after shot. But to no avail. The monster manages to destroy the array just as everyone was managing to run back inside. So maybe not my best performance during the entire Evolve Alpha, but again, I thought you guys should kind of get an idea how Val works. She's the Tier 1 healer, and it's kind of interesting, but really complicated, so take it with a grain of salt if you want to try it out for yourself. It can be kind of difficult and kind of easy depending on who's on your team with you. My best roles are assault or support. Those are the kind of the ones that I enjoy. So until next time, I've been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this little series of doing some play-by-play and explanation of what's going on during the Evolve Big Alpha. And I'll catch you next time. Until then, doodaloo, everyone.